Hey family, it's your girl Crystal. Welcome back to Black Does Crack. Alright family, so we're going to jump right in today. As you guys know, I posted a video and asked the question last week, are black women gold diggers? And just for the backstory, there were about 3 or 4 different occasions within like a 2-week period that I heard black men say that black women are gold diggers and that all we care about is how much money a man makes. So it really got my wheels turning. Of course, I disagreed with the statement, but I try to be unbiased when I'm listening to specifically guys' opinions of women. Of course, as a woman, I kind of know how women think. When women say certain stuff, even if I disagree, I can usually relate. But I try to be unbiased when listening to men because sometimes, maybe because I'm not a certain type of woman, you know, maybe I don't understand the experiences they have when dealing with other women. So I try to be unbiased. But anyway, of course, that hearing that black women are gold diggers didn't sit well with me. So I wanted to talk about it. I've asked several men over the past few days their thoughts on it. And I also had some comments on, I think I had 1 or 2 comments on Facebook, a few on YouTube, and I got a few in my inbox. The comments were along that same line. Kind of saying, not all women, but if you're going to deal with a certain type of woman, then yes, you may run across gold diggers a lot. I don't think that's necessarily a black woman issue though. I think that is a woman issue. As women, I think all women would love to have a man who makes more than them, a man who has a certain level of status, a certain level of provision, right? And there's nothing wrong with that because historically it has been men who provided for their families. Even once women entered the workplace, they were helping, but it was still the man's job to take care of his family. Even in other cultures today, it's the man's job. It's the man's job to provide for his family. But I think in Western culture, we have been socialized, especially as black folk. We can't get away from the fact that almost 70% of our families are headed by women. So many of us are used to seeing women provide for the family. We're used to seeing women be the breadwinner. But just because that's what we see doesn't mean that's how it's supposed to be. And another thing I noticed too is that mostly guys, the guys who say that women are gold diggers, most of them were raised by single parents. Now, please do not, y'all don't cut me, okay? You know, black folks like to cut people. Don't cut me. But it's the truth. Because a lot of times when you're raised, if you're a young man, right? You're a young man and you're raised in a home with a woman taking care of you. She's the breadwinner. She's the one making the rules. She's the one running the show. You don't necessarily know that it should be a man's job to do that. You see her doing it. So to you, having a woman do it is normal. Or even if you are a man who believes in working, you believe in taking care of your family, you think it's her equal responsibility to help you just because your mother did it or your aunties or whatever did it. But that's not necessarily the way it's supposed to be. Women of every culture believe in a man having a certain amount of money. So that's not a black woman thing. And if we just want to be honest and put it all the way out there, black women, black American women are the only women who out earn our men on average. So the average black woman in a relationship is probably making more than her mate. So if that's the case, I'm not really sure where the gold digger mantra comes from, because in actuality, we're the least gold diggerish. Because if you be honest, you know lots of broke men with a woman. Even if you think about it naturally and physically, when you are married and you plan to have a family, the woman is the one whose body goes through the changes as she has a baby. So if you're having a baby, and especially if you're having baby after baby after baby, think about our grandparents and great-grandparents, right? Some of our great-grandparents and grandparents had 14, 15, 16 or more kids. As a woman, if you're having that many kids, I mean, how much can you really work, right? Because every year you're pretty much having a baby. And when you have a baby, yeah, you can work a little bit while you're pregnant, but if you have complications with pregnancy, you could literally be out of work for months at a time. And if you have to be out of work, who's going to take care of the family? The husband. As a woman, it is definitely something that we consider when we think about men. So for the men, I don't want you guys to feel like it's it's us being gold diggers, but it really is a matter of us being concerned about whether you can provide for a family. That's the main issue. Another thing that I really think is an issue, and again, men, please do not hate me, okay? Because y'all know I love black men. I really do. I love and respect and honor and cherish black men, but we have to be honest about our situation and honest about the plight that we're in as a people. And another reason I think a lot of black men feel black women are gold diggers is because, unfortunately, most black men are not in a position to financially provide for a family. Okay, again, don't shoot the messenger, but it is a reality. If black women on average are earning more than their men, that means that the men are earning less than everybody else, their counterparts, their male counterparts. And yes, we know that it is systematic, so this is not a sucker punch to black men. There are systems in place to keep black men, to keep them down, to keep them limited. But at the same time, black men have also accepted that place, and it has become normal and almost celebrated, where I've heard men say, well, it don't matter how much money I make. She should love me anyway. There is some truth to that, but how much money you make is kind of important. Not so much a certain number, but you should be able to provide for your family. If you have a wife and children, they need to be able to eat and not have to be struggling and worried about whether bills are going to be paid. Yes, she should be able to help you, but it's not her primary responsibility. It's not her primary inclination to provide. That's your responsibility as a man. Marriage and raising children is hard enough. So if you are already struggling just to live, imagine how much more intense that struggle is when you have to also worry about how your bills are going to be paid. Who's going to pay the rent? How are the children going to get that new pair of shoes they need? Then your children want to play football. They want to play soccer. They want a new pair of shoes. They want all these things that cost money. And when you're struggling to pay for things, sometimes you're not your best self. You might be stressed out. You might have health problems. You probably aren't in the best mood. And none of that is good for a relationship, right? So money is kind of important. It helps you live comfortably so that you can focus on the other things that are important in a relationship, not just how the bills are going to be paid. I have been told by men that how much money they make shouldn't matter. And they were sadly mistaken, because it does matter, especially if you're a woman in a certain place yourself. Like, nobody wants to get married to go on a downward spiral. Nobody wants to get married to struggle and be having to worry about how are these bills going to be paid. So I just wanted to say that today. That's all for today. Tell me what you guys think, okay? I know that, I don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers but God. But we got to talk about this kind of stuff, because men thinking that a woman should not care about how much they make, they're mistaken. And if you think about it, as a father, if you're a father and you have a daughter, would you want your daughter to marry a man where she's going to be struggling? And she's going to have to come ask you for money, or have to come borrow money from her parents because she and her husband can't pay their bills, or because they're going to have to come live with you because their rent is not paid, or have to worry about how their kids are going to eat. As a father, you wouldn't want that for your daughter. You would want your daughter to be with someone who is going to take care of her. Not that he has to take care of her like a baby, but you want somebody who's going to make sure that she and the kids are going to eat and be taken care of. So that's all it is, okay? So let's stop the whole gold digger thing. It's not a black woman issue. It is a woman issue. Women globally want a man who can take care of them. So let's stop penalizing or stop demonizing black women for wanting the same thing, okay? That's all I'll say today. You guys know the deal. If you have questions or comments, please email us at fixedblackcracks@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook. All right, you guys, until next time, I love you. Be blessed.